everybody, how's it going? So I did that video about a month and a half ago about the SMG ironic drums. And I just want to say I'm surprised by the feedback that video got. There was a lot of support from the community. A lot of you guys were like, well, it's about fucking time, man. Yeah. So, all right. Okay. That all came out of my conversation with Paul Lanu, where we were talking about one of my favorite sounding productions, which was Megadeth's Peace Sells. The drum sound on that record was absolutely monstrous. Turns out there was a rudimentary sample blend on there. And so what I did was I did 3 different mixes, and I challenged you guys to pick out where the samples were. And yeah, like nobody got that at all. Like there were a couple of close ones, so I'm going to go over that in a couple minutes. But like I said, I was really, really impressed by just, the kind of support that a lot of you guys were saying in the comments. Nobody's like, you fucking sell out, you fucking sell. That really didn't happen, which kind of surprised me, to be honest with you. And the thing is, yeah, I get it. I realize there's a lot of you guys out there who don't really have access to large kits and a room to record them in and all the mics and everything else that goes along with it, but you still want to make music. Absolutely. Let's take a look at a couple of things you guys had to say first, and then we're going to go over some of the mixes. And then I'm going to show you guys how I would use these samples on a not so great mix as well, because that seemed to be one thing that came up in a lot of the comments were like, well, that's great. You've got these great drum recordings and you're augmenting them with samples. And now they sound huge, but what about not so great recordings? We're going to take a look at that in a minute as well.
People who never change their minds never change anything. Winston Churchill. A lifetime spent in the music business, and you continue to impress with your willingness to learn something new, or at the very least, rethink your position.
Well, yeah, that's kind of always been my philosophy. I try and wake up and learn something new every single day. And if evidence presents itself where it kind of, completely destroys your position, it's like, if you don't change your position, then you're just a fanatic. And I don't want to be a fanatic. So if one of my favorite records had sample augmentation going on, even some rudimentary stuff like, some white noise or a little bit of low frequency generation under something, just to give the drums a little bit more impact, so to speak, I've got no problem with that. I'll try that. I'll try exploring that. So that's why this whole sample set kind of came about. Always be willing to try and learn new stuff, even if the evidence completely undermines your opinion. At least be willing to accept what that evidence is, and maybe it helps you grow not only as a musician but as an engineer and producer as well. I'm totally down for learning new shit.
Not a sellout, still learning and growing.
Well, dude, I really do appreciate that. Like I said, that was one of my big fears, was being called a sellout for putting out a set of drum samples. But again, it seems there is a need for this sort of thing. So, hey, why not try and make the best sample set I can possibly do and make it sound as realistic as possible as well. I think we succeeded, especially when we get a little further on down the video here and I show you guys where the samples were and where they weren't, and just the fact that nobody got it at all.
That actually sounds fucking amazing. You need to show newer artists and producers how to mix them like this.
Hey, Richard, that sounds like a great idea for a dedicated video. That's probably going to come out in a few weeks, where I'm going to do a sample blend breakdown. Now, all the tracks I'm using here, except for the last one, are all part of my SMG Savage Grooves pack. A number of you guys have already got that, who've signed up through the email list and whatnot. And we're going to be doing a full-on video about what that's all about in the very near future, if it hasn't come out already. But yeah, all these tracks are going to be available, including the video files, as part of the SMG Savage Grooves packs. And the drum recordings were done by Jackson Warden. He's appeared on the show numerous times over the years, doing a lot of the demo work, that kind of stuff. And Jackson does some absolutely incredible drum recordings. And the sample set has allowed me to take those drum recordings of his and just boost them up to the next level and really give it some amazing impact, and just really push things completely over the top in terms of clarity and hugeness. So yes, I'll do probably a 10 to 15 minute breakdown video on that in a few weeks and show you guys just how I approach mixing samples into an already good drum recording. We're going to take a look at a minute here and take a look how they work in a not so great drum recording. Now, the big challenge in the last video here was to pick out where the samples were and where they weren't. And the guy who got it the closest was this dude. This is Genya HP. He only tried on the very last clip. We're going to play that in just a minute here. But the thing was, dude, you said this part samples, this part's no samples. It's like, you got where the changes were, but you got it wrong. The part that you said had samples on it was actually the real drums, and the part we said there were no samples were actually sample augmented. I think that just kind of proves my point here that I think we succeeded in creating probably one of the most realistic sounding sample sets out there. As long as you don't overdo it, as long as you don't, put that blend knob to 100%, you're gonna have some pretty damn good results. Anyway, we're gonna roll the 3 different clips here that we ran in the original video, just so you guys can hear the differences. And this time we'll have a visual cue showing exactly what's going on. Hit it! So the thing that impressed me the most was a bunch of you guys really couldn't tell the difference. There were a couple of valiant efforts like this guy here. And I gotta say, he took a real long listen to this, but yeah, sorry. Nope, not even close, especially in the second clip. We had not even close to that amount of changes in the second clip. So it's yeah, you know what? When you can't listen with your eyes and have to listen with your ears, suddenly things become a lot tougher. All right, so that's using a really well-recorded set of drums as your basis. We can make the drums sound freaking huge. As for working with not so great recorded drums, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick look at a mix by a band called 90 by Noon. They did a cover for SMG Oldies But Baddies. They did a song called Be My Lover, and I really like the vibe, how they got just how it all came together and whatnot. Great vocalist in this band, but the drum recording wasn't all that great. And I asked them for the tracks, and they were, nice enough to provide them for me. And I'll show you how I kind of took a not so great drum recording and made it better. I'm like, don't expect miracles here. Obviously, I'm not Harry fucking Potter. I don't have a magic wand to make really not so great drum recordings sound, absolutely incredible. But we could definitely make some improvements. I'm going to show you what that's all about in one sec. Run the clip of 90 by Noon so we can hear the original. All right, so that was 90 by Noon, and there were a lot of issues I had with that drum recording. Number one, you can see how close he's got his cymbals to his toms, and that's going to create a lot of spill, and you can see he's kind of trying to compensate by getting the mics as close as he can to the skins, and that doesn't really make for a good drum sound. The snare mic's way too close. It's just like, yes, let's back the cymbals off, break things up a little bit, raise them up, move the hi-hat over, and then we get less spill into the mics, and then we can back the mics off a little bit more, and we can get more control over them. But in this case, that's just not happening. So yeah, sample replacement is the way to go in this case. Here's the thing. I've always felt when I'm working with bands and whatnot, if I have to throw a drum sample on something, that it's like, I wasn't doing my job correctly somehow. I didn't quite get a good capture. In this case, his band hands me a thing and I got to get the best sound possible. It's like, okay, I'll work with what you guys did. And, if I got to throw samples on something to make it sound decent, so be it. That's just how it is. This is the drum sound I got. There's a blend of stuff going on there. I mean, I like to use a lot of outboard. I'm using some Trident EQs up here and a drummer compressor on the kick and snare. I've got the Gain Lab Dictator on my mix bus. I'm using a Taylor Magnetimus and a pair of Stamp 1176s on the overheads. I was going to make a point here. One of my real big pet peeves here with this drum recording is they close mic the hat and the ride, which is completely fucking unnecessary in my opinion because the overheads already picked that up. Those mics would have been better suited to being put out in the room and capturing the kit as a whole because we can compress the shit out of it and at least get a little bit more ambiance on the drums and make them sound like a more cohesive whole. So, that seems to be a big thing with a lot of guys making their first couple drum recordings. They think they have to close mic everything, and it's like, no, that's not the best solution always. We want close mics are good for spotlight highlighting stuff, but seriously, it's metal. Even if it's dance metal like this, we don't need super close-ups on the ride and hi-hat. You'd be better off getting a room sound and just getting a bigger drum sound overall. That's the easiest way. The other thing that they didn't do was get a bottom snare mic. And so in this case, we're actually doing a fair amount of replacement. I mean, I gotta say though, it's not half bad. The initial sounds, once they're gated correctly, like let's take a look at the snare sound here. So if I take the trigger off and we just listen to hear what's going on, that's the original sound. And even if we do a 50% blend, this is being processed, like I said, with live effects at the time, but if we drop a 50% blend on here, it's just going to add that much more thwack. That's a 50% blend. Out. Blend that in a little more. 70% blend there. It's got a nice thwack to it. But again, if we want a little bit more realistic sounding here, I'm just going to put this little section here on a loop and let it go and see what we get. Take that out. And back on. So now the thing is, because there was no bottom snare mic, we can actually bring one in on a sample here. So here's the initial one. That's top mic, bottom mic, and there's a little bit of hallway in there, and a little bit of back room as well. But you also get front room, if you want to bring that in, and of course overheads. That's pretty freaking sweet. But for me anyway, we've already got enough snare in the overheads and the existing mics, so. A lot of top mic, a little bit of bottom mic, just bring a little bit of that splat and a little bit of hallway for some ambiance. So we went from not a whole lot of attack to, and you see on that roll there, we can just probably bring the detail down ever so slightly and get that snare roll just a little bit better, that build up there. Let's see that again. Yeah, that worked. Let's try that again. See, hopefully it's going to register this time. Yeah, that's the thing though. We've got the curves just set for natural there, so we're getting that build up sound exactly. It's not all just like a one shot kind of thing. This is actually trying to maintain some semblance of realism, which is very important in my opinion. So yeah, that's the snare. Yeah, we're still getting a lot of snare in the overheads here. And kick drum, same thing. We got a pretty heavy replacement going on. I wasn't particularly thrilled with the kick sound. Gate's grabbing that pretty heavily, I think. It's just... Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're also going out to the drummer compressor and whatnot. Now, believe me, that natural kick sound I'm using there, that's going out into top of the heap analog gear, and that's the best I can do with it. I'm trying my best here. I'm trying to keep as much as possible of the original kick as I can. But on the actual sample replacement here, we've got a 91 inside the kick for a little bit of splat, an outer kick mic as well for a little bit of space, and then a sub kick. And just blending those through. I don't have a lot of hallway or room sound or whatnot. I mean, I like a nice tight kick sound. It just works better in my opinion, especially for this kind of stuff where it's kind of dance music. You want to crank that up and just have a nice solid kick. Oh yeah, I'm also using. I showed this off last summer. Was the Bob, and I'm using that for just a little bit of low end frequency augmentation from Mick DSP, the 6060. This thing's great. I really like this. So yeah, I just use a little bit of that 6060 Ultimate for a little bit more low frequency augmentation. But we take that out completely. That's the raw kick mic there. Well, actually, that's the raw kick mic. Ooh, sounds like a little bit of slapback there. Mr. Drummer needs to clean up his shit. Here's the thing. This drives me crazy about drummers. It's like, I notice he's got all this ghosting going on the snare, but he's got slapback on the kick. It's like, dude, stop worrying about the ghosting on the snare. Get the fundamentals right. Seriously. Play that kick more cleanly. That's what's important, not the fucking ghosting. Seriously. Get your priorities together. This is why we wind up replacing drummers with samples. So yeah, we'll just bring that back on. Yeah, that just brings it to life. You know, this is the thing, because there's no room mic as well, I've added a little bit onto the snare on that trigger part, because it just it gives it that much more ambiance. If we take that out, if we take this hallway mic out, let's take a listen here for a second. See what we get. Take the room out here. It definitely tightens up. So that's pretty powerful, just having those two in there. Like, if we bring this up, we definitely don't want that. Hey, that didn't loop, damn it. What's going on here? One more time. Yeah, gotta be sparing with those room mics. They're very useful though, just for adding. They're very, very useful for adding just a little bit more space on a close drum, especially if the drummer, thought the hi-hat and ride mics were more important than room mics. You can bring in a bit of an artificial room sound. This is also really great if you've got a really small drum room and you want to, make your drum sound just a little bit larger. This is definitely one way to go about doing it. Even if your close mics are clean, you can throw in, some room samples on the snare and toms and that kind of thing and just make things a little bit bigger. Now, the one thing for sure was I was not a fan of the tom sound on this recording in the slightest. So we did wind up going with 100% placement on this. Remember what I said about the drummer having his mics or his cymbals too close to the toms, and then you look at how he's got it mic'd. I mean, like, there's no space for the toms to breathe at all. And if we take all this off, here's with the raw mics. And we take a listen. Let's take a listen to this a couple times here. I think we got it on loop back. Let's take a listen. Yeah. Pretty flat sounding, and like I said, if we had backed the mics off a little bit, we'd probably get a bit more top end attack on those drums, but unfortunately that's not the case here. So yeah, we bring in a little bit of tom replacement, and we're using Tama Birch Babingas on this for the sample kit, and this is what we get instead. Let's take a listen here. Okay, even that might be a little too much. By itself, that's kind of sounding very cheese 80s, almost like NXS toms or something like that. So let's back that off a wee bit. Let's go about a 60% blend, something like that. Let's think about having 4 toms. You're gonna do this all individually, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Where the hell are we here? Bring that to about 60%. Got to remember, though, we are getting some of the toms in the overheads as well. So that's a big thing. Let's take a listen at about a 60% blend. Maybe a bit more rush. All right, that adds a lot more attack to the drums without completely quashing them. The drummer's still very much there. Let's hear that in the mix. Yeah, those just need to come up big time now. So we're going to pop those up ever so slightly. Well, we're going to pop those up quite several dBs, actually. But yeah, the thing is now that we've brought the tom mics in, it's like now we have to clean up the spill just a little bit more, and because it's just you can hear that psh, 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 because he's got his freaking cymbals way too close to the tom. So this is something I would definitely put a little bit more time in. You can just hear that chatter, and then the cutoff there. It's just like, ouch. It's like, yikes. And I think we got a little too much bottom end going on in that one. Let's take this off for a sec. Let's see what we got. One more time. There we go. Yeah, we just had a little bit too much bottom end augmentation going on in the EQ there. That's fine now. But still, we're getting that kind of sound off the cymbals. Now, this is where I'd want to use the AIX multiband gate or the virtual mix rack gate or something like that, which is really freaking amazing here. Okay, there we go. Drum gate there, and we can open this up. I need some damn presets on this because it's just like I can't even remember what it's supposed to be at this point. This is a really good gate if I could only remember what it's supposed to do. Let's see what we got here. How's this look? That's better. Hey, that cleaned right up. How about that? That worked great right there. Let's try that again. Yeah, we just need the same gate on this one here. So that's trigger. Hold on. So we're going to pull up this. We're just going to make a little preset, I guess, and go say preset floor tom V2. That way it's got the gate on it, and we're just going to pull that up here. It's a little less bottom end going on as well. And a little bit more gate. Let's see if that cleans it up. I got to say, yeah, I'm really impressed with the Slate gate. It's one of my favorites for live drums. That and the AIX multiband gate is amazing. Oh, that's so much better. There we go. Let's give it a bit more breathing room. Let's hear that in context. Cool. All right, so that's the SMG Ironic drums. Just a little bit a look at how well they work in a great mix and how they work in a not so great mix. I am going to follow this up in a few weeks, and I'll do a whole mix breakdown on how I apply samples on something that sounds awesome, and just to kind of push things over the edge a little bit and give it a little bit bigger sound, as it were. Now, the SMG Ironic drums normally go for $60. What we're going to do is we're going to have a 72-hour flash sale from the premiere of this video, and we're going to make it available for $47 for those of you guys watching it. Just follow the link in the description below, and you can get your hands on them and try them out for yourself. Oh, yeah, and because nobody could figure out how they sounded in the mixes and whatnot, we're also going to give away a couple copies too. So follow that link in the description as well, and you can get on the raffle copter, and you just might win yourself a set of SMG Ironic drums. All right, so that's it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, let's make some great music together. See ya.